Okay, I got a question for you. Have you ever thought that you're maybe being misled by finance YouTubers who claim to have your best interest at heart? Did you ever get that nagging feeling in the back of your mind that these so-called influencers are really just using you for their own profit? Buckle up, Buttercup, because we're going for a ride. Let's get straight to my point of view. The personal finance and investing space on YouTube, and other social media platforms for that matter, is riddled with predatory snake oil salesmen who are no better than the get-rich-quick fake gurus of the past. They don't care about your financial well-being at all. They're only interested in lining their own pockets by using any means necessary, all while pretending to give you valuable advice. To them, you're not the friend on the other side of the screen that they're just helping out of the goodness of their own heart. To them, you're the customer. Their customer. Let's talk about it. They use the mask of not financial advice.
Not financial advice.
To give out horrible financial advice that's guided by nothing but their own desire for engagement and retention. And let's not forget about the other paid ventures that actually make the bulk of their business. Premium programs, paid chat rooms, stock and trading courses, and more. Their YouTube channels are just marketing tools designed to lure you into their web of deception and keep you there. And then counting on your sunk cost fallacy to keep the money rolling in. Your money. They'll offer you membership-only content and tell you that's where the real value is. That'll create a sense of exclusivity that feeds into your ego and makes you feel special. But in reality, it's all just smoke and mirrors. They want you to believe that it's their investment prowess and deep financial understanding that got them to where they are today. They'll directly or indirectly point toward their success and make you feel like you could have all of that too if you would just buy their premium courses and religiously follow them. But it's all a lie. These influencers are using a tactic called the razor and blades model to milk their audience for all they're worth. It's a tactic that's been used by many industries throughout history, from shaving companies to inkjet printers to mobile phones. The core idea is simple: sell the product for cheap and make the real profit on the consumables. In the case of finance and crypto influencers, it's all about getting you hooked on their content and then selling you more and more and more expensive courses, programs, and trading indicators. The reason I mentioned the big influencers that dominate the viewership and subscription counts is because there's a sinister danger lurking right in their shadow. The more specialized, niche crypto influencers that are in the bare essence no better, but do pose themselves as such. Let's take a look under the facade.
Sam Bankman-Fried came out and he had some very positive things to say, and he is, at least in my opinion, probably the smartest guy under 30. Top money center banks go and talk to him on a daily basis.
A few moments later.
This evening, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York has confirmed the arrest of FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried in the Bahamas.
I've been talking about Voyager mostly because of the loyalty program and the swap. If you're using Voyager, because you get all this cool stuff, 7% staking, 1 to 3x crypto back on all the things that you keep on there.
A few moments later.
More pain in the world of crypto. Voyager Digital files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection just days after the broker suspended withdrawals on the platform.
You could say that this aged pretty poorly, right? And that's just the tip of the crypto grifting iceberg. Let's put on our suspenders for a few minutes and take a closer look at the example offender number 1, James, aka Invest Answers. Invest Answers is currently sitting a bit under 500,000 subscribers, and looking at his video feed, it appears clean and free of any controversy. But it wasn't always this way. First, let's establish the correct identity. A very quick search brought up more than one occasion of different videos completely out in the public, clearly showing him as James Malarney and also using Jim Malarney interchangeably in non-crypto content.
conversation between myself, Jim Maloney, and Mark Cowan, the CEO of Put It Forward. Mark, how are you today?
I'm great, Jim.
Long before James posted his first YouTube video, his name appears as a co-founder of a three-man-governed investment fund, also called Invest Answers. Coincidence, right? You can see his name listed on the now-defunct company registry sheet. What are the odds of that? This is probably one of the main sources of his so-called decades of trading and investing experience he so often brings up. However, what he conveniently forgets to mention in entirety is that the fate of this fund ended up even worse than all of his crypto calls and predictions. Here we can see the court filings of a case where the poster man of Invest Answers LLC, a man called Greg Peterson, who was the last one left on the ship after all the rats have escaped, was successfully sued for nearly $500,000 on account of breach of fiduciary duty, fraud, negligence, breach of contract, unjust enrichment, and fiduciary defalcation. Who was the plaintiff? A man right at retirement, left with exactly $84 on his multi-$100,000 investment that was all gambled away by James and his friends on highly leveraged, risky bets that blew up in their faces. Presenting themselves on this glorious 90s webpage as investment managers that actually weren't registered advisors or managers of anything at all, as it turns out. Instead, they were preying on unsuspecting victims with the same ridiculous grifts you still see James pushing to this day on his channel. Some he tried to delete from existence, although the internet remembers. But the ones that did blew up didn't stop him to continue adding fresh ones as time goes on. Retire on Solana? Let's see how this went, and whoops. Luna to $80,000? Let's see. Oh, whoops. Bitcoin to $1 million? Religiously parroting another investment fund manager whose track record is... whoops. Yet, his horrible track record doesn't end here. Keeping up with worshipping the most deceitful characters in the space, he was deep into Celsius and famously hosted its CEO, Alex Mashinsky, literally days before Celsius blew up. Now, here's the point where I tend to take a step back. How did we come to this? How are we just sitting by while literally hundreds of thousands are being fed some dream about ridiculous riches, financial freedom, and the inevitable disappointment that follows? How many people have put their life savings into the crypto cesspit in 2021 after every other schmuck with laser eyes on their channel just couldn't stop talking about 100K and more Bitcoin? How many have hodled when the same people were spewing delusions after the bear market started to their bitter end? How many have listened to them in good faith, put their money into Luna, Celsius, Voyager, and FTX alone? Not to mention all the various coins that have plummeted up to 90% or more since. Often you'll hear people say, well, it's their fault, they shouldn't listen and do their own research, which is a fair point, sure. But we're not talking about something trivial here, like some dodgy AliExpress merchandise shilled on YouTube. No, we're talking about real people with real lives, real dreams, real aspirations, and real struggles that could never be expected to put in the hundreds of hours needed to truly understand the crypto space. Even then, the results might not be up to snuff. And those people were looking for guidance and good advice, and instead they got led on like sheep to the slaughter. And the worst part? While the average Joe that got absolutely wrecked by one of those failed ventures is now disgraced and penniless, ashamed, and for the most part silent about it, the grifters that led them to this point, well, just keep going on with their business as usual. I'm absolutely disgusted with people such as James, and he's just one example. You can throw any, and I mean any, crypto or finance influencer that doesn't have a financial advisory background and purely educational content in the same box. The Plain Bagel and Patrick Boyle spring to mind. Isn't it interesting that the not financial advice, suddenly absolves our boxed ones of any responsibility. Frankly, I find it appalling, and whatever mental gymnastics some may start trying to do to vindicate these charlatans, it doesn't change the fact that it's these predators that have fed their audiences these delusions and led them to their ruin, not you or me. And the show goes ever on like nothing has happened. Even just recently, one of the biggest crypto influencers, the infamous BitBoy Crypto, Ben Armstrong, has rug pulled his own coin. After Andrew Tate posted what would in a non-crypto setting create another charge on his docket by the SEC, and immediately clarifying it was a joke, the vultures of the cryptoverse already began smelling blood before realizing it wasn't serious. Like this altcoin daily schmuck, all ready to jump on in, planning the outright scam in broad daylight. And while YouTube is bad, whilst we're touching on Twitter territory too, just look at what Zach XBT uncovered and put into public last year. The outright pricing by these influencers for shilling anything from the crypto world. The posts from him exposing these frauds are sadly just all too frequent, and that's only those that he uncovered himself personally. But the conclusion to all this is clear. If you're just some average Joe looking for guidance and advice in this degenerate crypto cesspool, just don't. There isn't any. Nobody is looking for your own best interest, and there's good reasons why none of these influencers are actual financial advisors, as those come with a clause of fiduciary responsibility to you and your situation, while these clowns have none and can say whatever they want with the sole reason of extracting as much money for themselves. Consequences be damned, because they're not on the receiving end of any. You are. And in the end, if I burned any bridges, came out harsh and cynical, and will get trashed in the comments, I don't care. I don't rely on peddling bullshit for engagement and income, and can and will say whatever the fuck I want. Whether you agree with me or not, the factual evidence you saw speaks for itself, and if you're able to draw vastly different conclusions from it, well, be my guest. And if you wonder, what do I get out of all this? Is there a sales pitch behind my rants, a hidden intent of some sort? And the answer is, well, only that you click on all the YouTube things and join me next time when we sanity check some more bullshit, maybe in a totally different field that appears like the new best thing since sliced bread, but is deeply rotten inside. Peace.